Good morning. As planned, I'm here today to talk about stress busting techniques and to generally talk about the debilitating effects of stress and anxiety that pretty much cause a physiological cascade throughout the body. As I was saying in one of my earlier posts, the thing is with stress, it's a funny old thing. The fight or flight stress response, which I'm sure you've heard of before, is triggered regardless of what is putting the body in demand. It was designed as a primitive response. So if a saber-toothed tiger or a woolly mammoth was approaching you, this physiological very speedy change of loads of different systems in the body would just happen instantly because it's designed to save your life in the face of imminent danger. And as the name suggests, fight, actually stand there and have the strength and the energy to fight the woolly mammoth or the saber-toothed tiger, or to be able to have sufficient energy to run for your life. Now, things like digestion, which take up about a third of the body's overall energy, digesting food, don't need that to save your life. Things like sleep are affected when you've got fight or flight because you have got loads of thoughts going around in your head. You've got lots of sugar that's released into the bloodstream to give your large muscles the energy they need to free energy to run for your life. So it can cause all kinds of busyness in the head and really affect that way. So that's why clarity of thought and fuzziness and just sort of getting confused and not able to think straight happens when you're in this state. We talked yesterday also about how tolerance levels can be affected and how you can feel real tight knot in your stomach. You can either have upset bowel movements or you can have IBS sort of type symptoms. These are all signs of stress happening in the body. But right now, of course, we've got a really stressful situation going on, but it doesn't require you to run for your life or fight the woolly mammoth. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas for helping if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, if you're feeling your tolerance levels are up to here, if you're feeling that tightness and that sort of sicky feeling in your stomach, or you're not sleeping well, or you're finding that your sleep patterns are interrupted. It's been proven now by World Health Organisations and mental health organisations such as Mind that you can do a really simple exercise for 3 minutes that helps to switch off that fight or flight and switch your autonomic nervous system, which is the thing that helps you to breathe and helps you to pump your heart, all the things that happen without you having to concentrate on it. It helps to shift it back to the state that we should be in if we're not in imminent danger, which is the calm, rest, digest, heal state. That's when your immune system is going to be working best and help you, to strengthen yourself from, catching the virus or being quite poorly with the virus. So it's quite important that you know what to do if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed or overloaded, because in the presence of stress, your immune system is also compromised, and you can often find that if you have repeated colds or generally, or lots of sort of ongoing illnesses, then that's usually a sign that you're under stress and your immune system isn't working great. So the first thing is about a 3 minutes where you just focus and anchor your attention to your breathing. And do some nice deep breathing. At the end of this video, I'm going to go through a little exercise for 3 minutes, just take you a guided trip through that. I'll do it at the end so that if it's not something that you want right now, you don't have to sit through me doing 3 minutes of that. So I'll go on to the next stress busting approaches first. So that's the first one, is 3 minutes, just taking yourself into a quiet corner, even pop yourself into the loo if you're in a busy house, because I am aware that everybody's got different challenges they're dealing with at the moment. And if you feel crowded or you need a little bit of space, ideal to take yourself to another room or even sort of pop yourself in the bathroom for 3 minutes and just go through this, which should help to ground you and help you to feel better. So we'll talk about that in a mo. The other thing is talking about frontal eminences. Yes, easy for me to say. if you look straight ahead, in line with where your pupils are, there are some quite bumpy little ridges on your forehead, which are called frontal eminences. They're sort of halfway between your hairline and your eyebrows. So if you have a little feel around, you can kind of feel them there. And if you just sort of take your 3 fingers and middle fingers of each hand and just lightly rest them on there, and close your eyes, and just again take some nice deep breaths and just have a little bit of quiet time, that can really help with calming you down again and helping with clarity of thought. The thing is, one of the other things that happens when that woolly mammoth jumps out, or not, is that the blood flow is taken away from the frontal lobe, the front of the brain, because you don't have to have logical thought. That's where you have all your logical thought and rational thought, and where you're able to reason and have creativity and those sort of thoughts. But of course, if you're in the face of imminent danger and need to get away from that woolly mammoth, you don't really need that. So all of the blood flow is diverted to the larger muscles to help you to physically sort of deal with the imminent danger. So that's why it can be difficult when you are faced with a challenge going on at home, a bit of a conflict, something going on like that. It can be quite difficult for you to actually think straight, or to think creatively, or to get perspective on something. By just sitting quietly and placing those fingers over the frontal eminences, again for just a few minutes, you can actually draw the blood flow back to that area, and it really does help you to get a bit of perspective. It's great for really grounding you and helping you to just feel a little bit more able to perhaps be calm and deal rationally with the situation rather than jumping in. Another one which I'd recommend if you're in a house full of people and you're finding it quite hard with little conflicts and, sort of breaking out, which of course is, quite understandable given the circumstances. As I said before, 24 hours, 7 days a week without being able to go out much with all of your loved ones is a challenge for anybody. And I think it's quite natural that at times, especially if people are feeling a little bit fearful or a little bit stressed, then there's going to be a little bit of tension. So I think also one of the things which I find useful is just trying to bite your tongue and count to 10 before immediately responding to things. And if you take yourself away, do this little exercise to try and allow that blood flow and give you a little bit of perspective, then maybe that will help you to be able to deal with situations a little bit more rationally and a little bit more creatively. Finally, I'm going to talk about exercise. Of course, exercise is great. We get our one exercise a day where you can go out, really take advantage of that, and there's all kinds of free stuff going on. But being able to do exercise, that gets rid of the sugar loaded bloodstream, which can make you feel quite poorly, which, as I say, happens as part of stress. Also not great for your health. So doing exercise is helping to burn that off. And to help with that, and that will also help. But also exercise has the benefit of releasing the lovely happy chemicals, the serotonin and the endorphins and things, so that's very helpful too. And the other thing I was going to talk about is posture. Posture, sort of putting your shoulders back and standing nice and tall, especially when you're going out for your walk in the day, that's also really helpful. It really affects your mood, you know. I mean, how often, when you think about it, do you see somebody who is really quite down and feeling quite low, who is walking with their head held high and their shoulders back saying, I feel really depressed today? And how often do you see somebody who's sort of hunched over and their body language is not great and they're sort of closing in onto their chest and they're saying, oh, I feel brilliant today, I feel really great. It really does have an effect on how you're holding your posture as to how you feel. And of course, with all of these iPhones and iPads and laptops, we do tend to sort of close in quite a lot these days. Bringing your shoulders back allows you not only to feel a little bit better, but it allows you to open up the chest area, which is really helpful for, nice deep breathing, which is also very helpful in this state. So I hope that's been helpful for anybody who is interested in going through a guided breathing exercise now. Just what you might do if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, then I'm going to take you through that now. So if you want to go ahead, just sit yourself nice and comfortably in your chair, feet on the floor, back against the back of the chair if you can, feeling nice and grounded. And then if you feel comfortable, I'd like you to close your eyes or fix your gaze, just a soft gaze, a few feet ahead of you towards the sort of ground level. Okay, and so I would like you now to think back to a recent time when you were having a really lovely time. So try and focus in on that, and I'd like you to turn your attention initially to your breathing. And I'd like you to notice each breath in and each breath out. So a nice deep breath in, and then a breath out. And then another deep breath in when you're ready. And out. And a third breath. And out. And noticing each breath in and each breath out. And noticing as you continue in your own time to take your nice deep breaths in and your breaths out. Where are you feeling that breath the most in your body? Are you noticing it more in your nostrils? Are you noticing it towards the back of your throat? Perhaps deeper in your chest? Or maybe you're noticing it further down around the sort of the gut or the stomach sort of area. And just as you continue to breathe, just focusing in on each breath, just this breath in and just this breath out. And if you find that your mind is wandering and you're starting to have thoughts, that's normal. That's what brains do. That's what they're designed to do. Just gently notice and bring your attention back to your breathing. One breath in and one breath out. Not trying to change anything, not trying to alter the breath, just observing and riding the wave of your breathing. And as you continue to focus on your breath, just thinking about that really happy, lovely moment that you had. Something that was really joyful, might have been the sun shining, might be a particular person you're thinking of an experience with. Just focusing in on that, really basking in that and putting a bit of colour to it and thinking about where you were and what you might have been wearing and just generally trying to put a bit of detail around that memory. Just holding that in your thoughts just for a moment. And then gradually coming back into the room, just maybe wiggling your toes and your fingers. And when you feel comfortable, just opening your eyes and coming back into the room, and just take a moment to refocus in the room. Now, how's that feeling? Hopefully it's feeling a little bit calmer. And you know that you've got that built-in system anytime you need it. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you can always find 3 minutes to just take yourself out of the situation and just sit and anchor yourself to your breathing. And if you can conjure up a really lovely safe place or memory that really filled you with joy, that's really helpful to have those positive emotions to help you through. So I hope that's been helpful, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you here soon. Okay, goodbye.